Good morning. I would like first to thank the organization of this 2020 edition of the Open Source Lisbon. It is a pleasure to see how big this event has grown since its first edition in 2003. Open Source Lisbon is becoming the event in the area in Portugal and also one of the worldwide references. This growth is aligned with the growth of open source community and its subsequent market. The numbers are undeniable. In 2020, around 25% of the global tech market is open software, and the expectation was to keep growing even before the pandemic hits. COVID-19 gave a boost to the digital transition of companies everywhere, and around 40% of the organizations that are doing this transition are shifting to open source as a way to replace expensive proprietary software and gain more control over future spending. Although only 18% of organizations are extremely confident that their open source components are secure, up-to-date, and well-maintained. Trust is of essence of any successful market, and we must reinforce the market perception and confidence in open source technology. Can the public administration help? Well, we truly believe that Europe as a whole has a vision to become sovereign in the digital world and to be seen as a trustful partner. On 21 October 2020, the European Commission adopted its new open source software strategy for 2023, aiming at achieving the goals and its new digital strategy while contributing to the Digital Europe program. In the words of the President von der Leyen, it is not too late to achieve technological sovereignty in some critical technological areas. Open source includes the deployment of interoperable solutions in areas of public interest and sharing technology and know-how for all businesses, including SMEs and local innovators. It multiplies Europe's efforts on its digital capacities and strategic infrastructures, setting out a vision for encourage and leverage the transformative, innovative and collaborative power of open source. Its principles and development practices that are close to the essence of public service. I would emphasize the following. The public code promotes the freedom of choice and avoids getting locked in and promotes market prices regulation. Secondly, it makes it easy to use and reuse software solutions so we can pool efforts to create valuable cross-border services that are interoperable and increases efficiency. Thirdly, it gets easy and more efficient to add features to open source software which can be freely shared with anyone for any purpose, meaning that everyone can benefit. So, the 6 key principles embodied in the Commission strategies are: first, think open; second, transform; third, share; 4, contribute; 5, secure; and 6, stay in control. These are an example of the path that Europe is taking. But this is not a position against the big tech companies. This is the defense of the values and ethical principles that are the foundations of the European Union, such as freedom of choice. This is also understood by the big tech companies. Open source communities have long been growing, and more developers and universities are working on solutions based in open source. The growth of good solutions have become also an opportunity to the tech companies. The marriage between the big tech companies and open source is already a reality. The level of interdependence of these two worlds is obvious, and we must encourage a symbiotic relationship between them. So, what is the game? In acknowledging the velocity of innovation created in open source, techs are reshaping their businesses. Today, we can see much more solutions created on top of open source in a pack that creates value to customer. This dynamic creates value to the customer and, more important, creates freedom to choose the best suitable solutions for its specific case. In fact, everybody wins. And that is true on open source and with the digital transition. We have approved in Portugal and presented the action plan for the digital transition in the beginning of March, right before the COVID-19 pandemic crisis reached Portugal. A few weeks after, in the heat of the crisis, it was already clear that the strategy we presented was the way to go. And the truth is that an open source mindset is craved in this action plan for digital transition. First of all, in training measures, from basic to advanced, all of them are considered, namely MOOC platforms, access to digital educational resources, activity books, interactive classes, tests, test preparation, performance evaluation, proposed learning paths. Secondly, the collaboration tools in digital environments allow remote and classroom monitoring and online collaborative work. This is the vision we have for the change that we all expect in the school environment. But specifically, I would like to emphasize a specific program and initiative named Upskill, which is a program with a variety set of coding languages that are considered based on the needs analyzed by partner companies that are hiring the trainees. And this initiative was tailored and is tailoring the education to the needs of the market. It's obviously around open source, and most of this technology and most of these programs are around the development and the intensive approach to the open source technology. And one of the most emblematic measures with open source in its core is the free zones for emerging technologies that will encourage experimentation, such as in artificial intelligence, in blockchain, in 5G, nanotechnology, and obviously much more technologies. This measure defines par excellence the ability to explore new technologies where open source has already been and is involved. With the same principles, we are also creating a national network of digital innovation hubs, focusing innovation and experimentation as an integral part of the model for adopting open source technologies. With the already existing clusters and technological centers, this will create an opportunity for integration and technological convergence in non-proprietary spaces, or at least substantiates the need to search for standards with the capacity to attract shareable technologies. In a similar model, the network integration of IHLs in the European network of digital innovation hubs maximizes and reinforces the need mentioned above. Technologies such as high-performance computing, networking, cybersecurity, simulation, blockchain, robotics, IoT, artificial intelligence, among others, will be an integral part of the stimulation of these innovation centers, creating a unique opportunity to stimulate the use and development, sharing and transformation of open source technologies. These are just examples of a much bigger ambition to the digitally reshape of Portugal. Our purpose is to accelerate Portugal, project our country in the world, leaving no one behind. From January 2021 to July, the eyes of the European Union will be facing Portugal and the Portuguese presidency of the European Council, and our agenda is to put the digital on the top priorities of everyone and every country. A few weeks ago, the President of the European Commission made a small trip to Portugal, and on her intervention with the international press, filled us with hope and inspired us as a strong candidate to optimistic champion. She basically referred to Portugal as an example to follow. Portugal has shown its best and the best of Europe, and according to her, she cannot think of any other country that is better to guide Europe in this path. These were her words, and this is also the message I would like all of you to keep. To the Portuguese that are watching, you are part of this process. You are summoned to embody this vision and keep making Portugal an example by constantly innovating in all areas. To the foreigners, you are now aware of what is happening in this beautiful little country by the sea, and to finish my intervention, I give you all a challenge to come or proceed with your projects in Portugal. Work from Portugal to the world. You can count on us, and we will be here to support you. Thank you very much.